Get the tampon out of your nose. I won't be able to look at you properly.
It is a Vicks inhaler to clear my nose.
I thought you had a tampon in your nose.
You know, on one hand, I wish we recorded the 15 minutes of chat we have before each podcast because it is the best. On the other, if people knew what we actually said off mic,
we would never work as therapists again. We would be canceled. No, we're not that bad. It's more just shit talking.
Well, if you think we say it real here, wait till you hear our private conversations one day because we really say it real.
All right. Yeah. Should we give people some advice? Or maybe we should do an intro.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to WTF Stories and Advice. I'm Caroline Cranshaw.
And I'm Daryl Gove.
And
we've got a follow-up.
We have a follow-up, yes. We have a follow-up. Thank God our podcast isn't video because I look like like I died and have been revised, brought back to life after being dead for, 3 days.
Well, if this is what you look like undead, I want to know what you look like when you're feeling hot.
You know what I look like when I'm feeling hot. What are you talking about?
Well, yes, I do. I seem to remember you being at my house dressed as a fembot one time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yep. Very, very sexy. Yep. Yep.
You were very sexy too. We should put a link to the video of you dancing in your fembot costume.
I think if we get X amount of new listeners or downloads, we should do that. But there needs to be incentive, people. And another 100 5-star reviews from what we've already got, or 100 positive comments. And I will say to Caroline, put the video up.
Okay. So give us some reviews on Spotify or Apple or wherever the hell you listen to us. And I will show you a video of Daryl looking like my sister, basically. Mm-hmm. The hair and makeup. I did a very good job on your hair and makeup, I'll have to say.
You did a very good job.
Yes.
Yep. My first and only time in drag. I can't do it all the time.
No, and we did pretty drag.
I'm too pretty to do it all the time. Everybody else would be jealous. It wouldn't be fun.
That is true.
So we have a follow-up, and often we give advice, and sometimes people send us little emails that like thank yous and so on, but we've got a full-on follow-up email. And so Caroline said I can get to read it today, so I'm going to read this and see how it goes.
And I have not read it.
Oh, you haven't read it?
No, so I don't know.
Okay, excellent, sexcellent even. Great. So this comes from our Spermless in Salem. And do we need to recap the original story, or people can just go back? If you haven't listened to Spermless in Salem, it's a few episodes ago. Go and listen to that before you listen to this.
Right. Well, maybe give a tiny recap.
In a nutshell, there was a girl who was approaching 40 or turning 40, and she hasn't been dating for many, many years. And she was wondering, should she date? Should she go on a single mom journey and get some sperms and have a baby just on her own? And she was asking for advice on all of these subjects, and we gave her lots of it.
And I think she was like 36.
Okay, so 36. Yeah, sorry about calling you 40.
Highly offend her. If you're like, oh yeah, she's like 40. Anyways, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that. There's a huge difference, obviously. And I could be totally wrong about that, to be honest.
And to be fair, she didn't put a photo, so we don't know.
I think she said in the last one.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's not like I'm making a commentary on her looks. Like, you look 40.
No.
But just a reminder, people, that when people tell you when you're 36 that you've got all the time in the world to think about having a baby, they're lying. Your clock is ticking, but there are options for you. You can freeze some eggs. You can do all sorts of things. But if you want to have a baby and you're not in a relationship, 36 is a really good time to think about taking some action on that. So, dear Caroline and Daryl, How's it going, my favorite podcast hosts? Excellent. Now, I'm assuming that she listens to lots of podcasts here and that we're just the best, but it could be we're the only one also. We don't know.
No, she obviously listens to tons, and that's why
Tons.
we're her favorite.
Excellent. I'm writing tonight with an update that's juicier than a pig on the spit. And no jokes about 3 ways, please. I don't get it.
A spit roast? Have you never heard that?
I've been a vegetarian for a very long time.
If somebody, it doesn't need to be a woman, if a person wants to be in the middle of 2 men on each end,
Oh, spit.
you're like a
Okay.
spit roast. Yeah.
Yes, I have heard of this. Sorry.
You've just never been one. I haven't been one either.
So we're not to make jokes about it, she says, but we didn't. We just explained it. Yeah. And we're still going to laugh.
Mm.
And update, and also to ask for a little advice. I don't expect you to read this in WTF, but thought I'd write it anyway. Well, we are reading it. But before we dive into the naughty details, I like it when the details are naughty.
Mm.
I wanted to thank you for the stellar advice you dished out in the previous podcast. You two are like the wise sages of dating and relationships, and your insights had me pondering all sorts of intriguing possibilities.
Probably because we give you 20 different possible scenarios and then go, pick one of those. I don't know, or don't do any of them.
You know, I think in my clinic, one of the things that I like with my clients is to give them choices, right? When people are stressed, when they're anxious, when they don't feel in control, if people feel like they have more than one option, that really lifts them, doesn't it?
Absolutely. People don't really want advice. They just want to figure out what's best for them. But they want to, like you said, here's some options so that they can make the right decision.
So I'm so glad that I wrote in, and it makes me wonder why I spent so long debating it before I did. Also, thank you for forwarding those emails to me. I will update you as we go through.
Oh, the volunteers.
Yes.
We have some volunteers that want to give her some sperm. I don't know if they want to give her a baby, but they definitely were up for giving her some sperm. Fucking men. Swear to God.
Are we allowed to read their letters out online one day? Maybe we could ask her, because
We should read them with their name. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I think they're just taking the piss. Some of them have their own questions, but yeah. Anyways, we'll visit that another time.
Another time. Now, let's get to the juicy bit, shall we? So I mentioned considering getting some sperm action to make my own baby. Well, my inbox turned into a veritable sperm buffet.
Oh no. Well, it was more photos than actual writing.
But hold on. It was mostly photos, but when she says my inbox turned into a sperm buffet,
some real bukkake dish. Oh no.
Is she being metaphorical? Like this is her inbox and
Oh, I'm sure she's talking about her emails, but that is a double entendre. A real oh no.
No, I received more offers than a discount bin on Black Friday. It was a wild ride. So I love the metaphor she's using. Like a discount bin. It was wild ride. Some really lovely sounding people. But alas, I had to decline those generous donations. As I mentioned, please don't forward me any more emails. I did stop. I
bet you will get more now.
To be fair, she was having a laugh to begin with. Like, she was having a laugh back and forward. It was a bit of fun. But then it was just a bit like, actually, this is grotty. And like, yeah, we're having a laugh with this, but it's actually a serious topic that she was asking about. So next time, I'm not going to put a call. If anybody else has an issue and wants something, I'm not going to do a call out to the whole world to send us emails to forward to somebody about giving them sperm donations.
Okay, no more dick pics. We don't want to see them.
Yeah, don't send a dick pics. And by the way, none of them were impressive. Like, why
do they do that?
So it was a wild ride. Some really lovely sounding people, but alas, I had to decline those generous donations. But it was nice, however, to get an offer of marriage from someone who has never seen me.
Hmm.
It's reassuring to know that there are people out there more crazy than me. Good call. There's always someone more crazy.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to it, go to right to the beginning of this podcast. And there was one that Caroline does, Crazy Always Wins. It's a great one.
And then, actually, because I tell that story, and then you can hear, if you go to the one, Stories with My Father or Conversations with my father tells insane stories. He's better at storytelling than I am. And you can hear it from his point of view, too.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, do
Yeah.
that. Go and check those out, guys.
Crazy always wins, my family motto.
So I thought a lot about your advice. And although I seriously considered dating the older guy, I decided it was too inorganic. I don't use Tinder or Bumble still. I just want things to be organic if I am to date again. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to put yourself out there and go places and stuff.
Nah, I think you need to be online.
Well, I thought that. And then I thought, well, because I was on Tinder for a while when I was single. And then I was like, I'm meeting people on here that are the type of people that you meet online, which are more towards the introverted. And I thought, if I want to meet someone a bit more extroverted, maybe I should go out.
And I think you can meet people out, but turn on the app while you're out, and then you can literally start talking to them from across the bar.
Two birds with one stone. That is some 100 IQ thinking, which was why Caroline was the person I went to for dating advice when I was single.
100 IQ? Hello?
200 IQ.
Oh, I thought you said 100 IQ, and I was like, I'm a lot higher than that. Thank you very much.
I may have accidentally said that, but it would have been a slip. I meant 200 IQ.
Woohoo, look at me. Average.
So little could I have known, as I contemplated all of this, that there was something sneaking up on me right under my nose. Hopefully it wasn't a tampon.
Oh, no, stop that.
Or a Vicks inhaler.
And I thought, I'm like, why the hell does he have a tampon in his nose? And then I realized you don't live with any women, so why would you have a tampon at home?
You know, I don't have them, but when I used to go to the pub when I was 16 with my girlfriends, they would have been 15, they were a year younger than me, I remember, go out and they would always have a tampon for mopping up the beer. Because we'd always get drunk and we'd spill the beer on the tables, and they would always bring out the tampons to mop it all up.
Are
was
you
very
kidding
busy.
me?
No, I'm serial.
You're cereal.
I'm super serial.
Oh God.
It was so crowded you couldn't go and get cloths and paper. There was this one bar in the town that let all the underagers in, and it was upstairs. So we would just all pack into this place and fill it, and you got a giant bucket of cocktail for £10, and you just all put your straw in and share it. But because you wanted to get your share, you would just down this whole bucket of cocktail in one go, get steaming, and then need tampons to mop up all the mess.
Oh, I remember going to a bar and we were like really broke, and these guys had these big cocktails, and so we like connected all our straws,
Yeah.
put it over the guy's shoulder, and we're trying to sip out of the drink. Yeah, and they were like, "Hey."
You see, this is the kind of fun shenanigans that we got into in our teenage years, which when you get into your 20s and 30s can develop into drinking more than you would like. And so if, like us, that's something that happened to you, and like us, you want to cut down and get back in control with alcohol, then check out Wind Down. We've made a product.
Yeah, that is a very good point. An alcohol reduction or quitting. If you are being a lush, like we used to be, you should buy it.
It's super great value. You get a whole bunch of audios, a whole bunch of videos. We talk about your brain chemistry. We talk about habits, breaking up with alcohol.
Supplements that help. And the meditations, a lot of them, the ones I did, have a wake up at the end or a go to sleep at night. So you have a choice if you're listening during the day or if you're listening at night. But there's tons of meditations as well.
And we did say that we like our clients to have choice. My meditations do not have that. But I am going to re-record alternate endings in about a month or two when I get some time to do that. Because I only found out you were doing that when it was too late for me and I'd finished mine.
No, and I had already edited yours and then went, oh, maybe I should just, because it takes 2 seconds. Anyways, okay, we are digressing, but I have thought of such a good story I have to tell about a bar. But go on.
Oh,
and
no,
I'll
tell the
you.
funny bar story, then we can move
No,
on.
no, because people, it
Okay.
must drive people crazy. Finish this, and then I will tell you I might have told it a long time ago, but it is such a good story.
Excellent. Okay. So there was just something sneaking up on me right under my nose. At my workplace, there's a 28-year-old Colombian barman who's fresh off the boat and speaks zero English. Well, I'm intrigued already. That's exactly my type.
You want give you some sperms. How do you say sperms in Spanish, Daryl?
I don't know.
Daryl,
Yeah.
how could you not know? You have to ask your South American lover.
Well, I know like lots of the other words, but yeah, I don't know the word for sperms. Probably it's sperm.
All I know how to say is go fuck your mother and you're ugly. I call it defensive Spanish.
Defensive Spanish. Just a side note, if you're learning Spanish and if you want to learn Spanish from this guy, Colombian is the best Spanish to learn. I stand by that 100%. It's clear. You don't want to learn Spain Spanish. It's too different from the rest. It's a bit with all the way they pronounce some of the words. And Latin American Spanish, Argentinian's really different and difficult. But Colombian, it's clear. It's easy to understand. I love all Spanish. Don't get me wrong. Spain Spanish, Argentina Spanish. But that's the Spanish you want to learn from. They're the easiest to understand. In Spain, I was getting this taxi, and all the Spanish people, I could kind of get into a taxi with a Colombian, and we are like blethering away the whole way to the airport, like nobody's business.
Good to know.
So people at the bar are always pointing to what they want, and he manages fine with his few words. Awesome.
Betty's cute.
Well, yes, actually, the next line. He has a handsome, friendly face.
Is his name Alejandro? No.
Oh, I won't. I do have his real name, but I'm not putting it in here. She's asked me to change it. Well, I don't want to say he's the image of a god, but he really needs to be behind a camera, not a bar.
Or in front of a camera.
Maybe that's what she means. It really helps him.
Got a face for radio.
It really helps him getting along with everyone. Well, it does. It does that. I remember when I had to hire somebody when I was 18 to replace my job when I moved to New Zealand. And all these people walked in to apply for the job. And I remember this guy, his name was Damien, his short hair, like smart pants on. He just walked in like from the rain. And I was just like, yes, you can have it. It's your job. You're so beautiful.
I love the name Damien. I used to have a cat that was a Maine Coons named Damien. And he weighed like 20 pounds or 10 kilos. And he would chase all the dogs. And I used to run out, go outside and be like, Damien! I'd call my cat. And people were like, Jesus.
Everyone's thinking you're calling the devil. But if you are that Damien and you did get a job in Hunky Dory in February 2000, don't contact me because I'm happily in a relationship now. Okay, stay away.
You don't want to see a picture of your dick.
Definitely
you can
not
send
that.
it to me just so I can tell Daryl what he missed out on. Sorry.
Oh, dear. Okay, so of course I was attracted to him, but I didn't do anything about it except be my friendly self and smile every time I went past. So here we come to the crux of my email. I like that word, crux. I'm going to use it more.
Crotch.
A few weeks ago, with his super cute accent, Romeo asked to follow me on Instagram. I thought literally zero about it, as everyone follows everyone at work. We had even all been out to work drinks, which is easy to do working in a winery. We just go to the bar lately, and we didn't even talk. He did bump into me as I came out of the bathroom, though, and the way he looked in my eyes and said, "Lo siento," made me wonder if I hadn't wiped properly.
What? Did you wipe? What does lo siento mean?
I'm sorry, but usually they would say, wouldn't they usually say the other one beginning with P? I don't know. I don't bump into Spanish people. I don't apologize to Juan.
Andale. That's all. I took French, which was a big mistake. I should have taken Spanish. It's way more useful.
Perdón, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, he was very sorry, apparently, and that made her wet. So picture
Oh.
this. A steamy telenovela. What's a telenovela unfolding in the vineyard where I work? I feel like I'm in a parallel world. That's those Mexican soap operas.
Yes.
Yes.
I used to watch those, not having any idea, but they were so good.
I googled that. So one day, Mr. Guapo decides to showcase his chilly hands by giving my arm a little caress. You know the touch, right? Oh, the things that touch could do to a girl's imagination. I went home and it was all I could think about. Oh, did you go home and have a really good think about that, did you?
Little think with her fingers, her bedside table friend.
We're going to have to delete this whole episode.
No, we're not. We're not. But don't listen to this if you want to come to us for therapy. No.
Let's put a warning at the beginning that there's like adult
I already
themes.
have a warning.
Oh dear. It was all I could think about. Like the cold hand had burned into my arm. That's like super. That reminds me of like high school. Do you remember that? Like the person you fancy would touch you and you could like feel it on your jumper later that day.
Yeah, and you'd be like shaking.
Yeah. Oh, he touched me. He touched me. Oh, that's so cute. He messaged me on Instagram and I smiled. It was so cute, and he was obviously using Google Translate as the English looked perfect, but didn't always make sense.
Yeah.
I know the one. I got excited every time my phone buzzed. Next, to my delight, things took a turn for the flirtatious. And almost right away, he asks me for a spicy rendezvous. Okay, I don't know about you, Caroline, but to me, that's not flirtatious. That's way beyond flirting.
Yeah, that's... So he said, are you down to fuck? Like, in a nice way.
Solicitous.
A rendezvous. Would you like to sit in the backseat of my car? And
rendezvous.
Anyways. Okay.
So unexpected and direct, but I love it. Okay, good. Good, she likes it. But here's the catch, my friends. We both live in less than ideal situations. He flats with our co-workers, and I live with family members. Finding a private spot was about as tricky as getting a man to stop for directions and admit he is lost.
That's so impossible.
Yeah.
The car. That's where you go. That's what you do when you're a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cute. She's living her best life right now. So I plucked up the courage and agreed to go out with him for a drive and a bit of fun. It was certainly no disappointment. I felt 18 again. Like I was in some teen movie making love under the stars. Luckily, it wasn't one of those teen movies where the lovers get jumped and murdered. That did cross my mind.
Oh, no. That'd be bad, but I don't think she'd be writing to us if that happened.
Remind me not to tell the story, but I've been in that situation, as you know, one time. It was like, ha ha ha, I hope you're not a murderer. Ha ha ha, you too. And that did not end well, that spicy rendezvous that I went on one time, which I will tell you about another time.
I have another story like that too, but anyways, yeah. Go on.
Do you? Okay, we'll share them off mic and decide if they're appropriate for on mic.
No, we'll share them on mic. Okay, go on.
Okay, later. Okay. During our escapade, Romeo communicated with me that he's only interested in a casual relationship. Well, I would have guessed that from the invite.
He doesn't want a green card?
Well, I also was thinking that. By the time we got to the end of this, I was like, is that what he wants?
Oh, no. Okay.
Primarily focused on physical fun. This is because of his limited English skills and desire to master the language before he gets into a relationship. Talk about complications, right? Well, yeah, and I think it is also reasonable to think, well, actually, it's going to be tough being in a relationship with someone I can't talk to, and I don't want it.
But that's how you learn. And why do you need to talk anyways?
Well, only when things don't go well or when you have a problem, which is going to happen.
I've had several friends that have dated people that they literally could not communicate, and before Google Translate, and it was all good until they could communicate, and then it was bad. Because I think it's like, if you don't know what they think and what they say, you just project everything onto them.
And I think there's a lot to be said for body language. Like, you can still read a lot, but you're right. You project what your dream scenario of what they're really like. We could be thinking, oh, this guy's good looking and he's direct and you like those two qualities, therefore he's perfect, or he might be an absolute CNUT.
And screwing half the other staff, you don't know.
Quite possibly. So I've realized that with most potential mates I encounter, they're only interested in enjoying sex with me,
Hmm.
which is perfectly fine. It's a life experience all the same. Yeah, that's.
Stop giving them sex. That's
Mhm.
my advice. You have to think of your pussy like $1,000 bill. Or a $5,000 bill or a $10,000 bill or more, $100,000. Would you just give that to anybody?
Men like to chase,
Yeah.
and they are attracted to having to work for something.
Yeah.
And so if you withhold it, it shows that you value yourself.
Exactly.
And I would, yeah, say to Caroline, yeah, maybe I know that that can be fun and you can enjoy that, especially if you're not looking for a relationship and you want to scratch that itch, go for it. But on the other hand, and she's not saying she's looking for more herself either, but it seems by the way you wrote that, it sounds to me like it's their choice rather than mutual.
Yeah. And it's a pattern. And it
Mm,
can be a pattern if you don't really value yourself. And there's nothing wrong with a bit of casual sex. But if you want a relationship, I think that, yeah, you need to, because you don't know somebody. It takes ages to know somebody. And people are on their best behavior. And then you get attached, especially for women. Like men don't have the same type of like attachment systems that
mm,
women have to keep ourselves safe so that we don't end up trying to raise a child on our own. Very primitive biological. But we'll bond to a total cunt. Uh, like
mm.
before we figure that out. And then your brain will go, "Oh no, but they're a really nice guy." No, they're not. They just fuck you good. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of fun and it's your body and you can do whatever you want. But if you want a relationship, make that man work for it. That is my advice. And it works. It works. Men, they go on safari and they shoot something in 5 minutes. They're disappointed. They want to hunt that thing for
Mm.
at least 2 or 3 weeks and then get their prize. They don't go, "Oh, yeah, I got there and I just shot it because it wandered into the campground." Anyway, sorry, that's my rant.
No. You're like, good, good. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. However, my true desire is to have a child to share the other parts of my life with. In order to pursue that journey, I also need to take control of my anxiety and make an effort to see my friends as they play a crucial role in sharing experiences and enjoying life together. And I think that whole paragraph is the crux of the whole thing. Because what she said here, she's talked about, okay, a man to have sex with, a child to go through life with, and friends to share experience with. And I think that's an acceptable way to divide up your life if you want. You know, you
Yeah.
have the people that you do sex with, the people that you share life with, but also there's nothing wrong with finding that all in one person too, if you want.
Yeah. And not that people need to be everything, but they can be, you don't need to settle, or at least try not to settle. Like, give it a good go
Yeah,
before
no.
you do.
But also there's something that I don't remember where I heard this, but I just believed it to be true. And it might sound really bad, but I'm gonna say it anyway. As a society, we are told you're awesome, you're amazing, and we are. Everybody's amazing and you're unique. But it's got to the point where everybody thinks they're a 10.
Mm.
Everyone thinks they're a 10 out of 10, that they deserve a 10 out of 10. They deserve a guy that's got the looks, the job, the drive, the motivation, the passion, no baggage, no history, perfect friends, his own home, and just everything is perfect. And they think that going for less than that is settling. And so, just as a thought, not necessarily just for you, but for everyone that's single, some things you can't have. Well, maybe you can have it all. Fine. Wait for it. Maybe you're going to find that. My advice is decide what's most important to you. What are the most important values? And look for them. And just realize that you might not get somebody that you have the best chat with, or you might not have somebody that you have the most amazing sex with, or you might not have somebody that's got their own home, or you might not have somebody that's got the dream job, or whatever it is. But what's important to you, and if they've got that and you're compatible, great. But if you keep waiting to find everything, you might miss out. You might get to like 50 and you're all sitting there, all telling yourselves that you're amazing and you're all single.
Mm.
Just a.
I agree, but I know way more women that settle than I do that are holding out because they have perfect standards. And I think the thing is, if you have really high standards, for a partner, you need to have very high standards for yourself. Are you everything that you want in a partner?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't, I'll get people that are like, I want them to be really fit and rich. And then, and meanwhile, they're a hot mess. And I'm just like, you need to be the person that your ideal person would want to be with.
I think we talked about this in the very first podcast I did with you.
Did we?
And I'd been watching this streamer. She's a girl streamer called Kitty Plays. She's basically like an underwear model now. And it's a very sexy Canadian girl streamer. And anyway, she just put her hand up and she goes like, list the 5 things you want in a man. And she's like, now work on all of those things. And that's your homework. That's what you've got to do. So if you want someone with a good career, have a good career. If you want someone responsible, be responsible. If you want someone that's XYZ, be XYZ. And I was like, oh my God, that's so right. That is the roadmap to, and that's what you've said. And that's what I did. And it worked. It worked.
Or the other one, the one I like is the triangle, where it's like rich, good looking, great in bed, or funny, rich, good looking, pick 2. It's just like,
oh yeah,
that you can't expect someone to be every single little thing that you want.
Well, it's like I said to my partner in the car the other day. I was like, you notice I've been baking a lot more for you recently. And he's like, yeah, you have been baking a lot. Yep, I've been baking a lot for you. I was like, because, we're getting older. And, and I'm going to be old. We're all going to be old. And some people are going to be old and they're going to have a shit relationship. And you're going to be old and you're going to have cake.
And you're going to be dependent on me for that good food. So my mother always says, feed them and fuck them. That's the that's the key to a man's heart. Feed them and fuck them.
Well, it works because he brought me home a new TV last week
Mm.
because he wanted me to have better graphics in the new Zelda game.
Aww.
Because I was using like a 15-year-old TV to play Zelda, and he's like, it's not good enough. And can I spoil you? I said, yes, you can spoil me anytime.
Way to a man's heart,
anyway.
his stomach. Yeah.
It works. I'm going to make more cake.
Definitely.
So, my dear Caroline and Daryl, thank you for calling us dear. I find myself at yet another fork in the road. Should I dive headfirst into the casual affair, embracing the potential language barriers and the uncertain future? Or should I slap a warning sign on my heart and proceed with caution? It's like playing Russian roulette with a dick. I should mention here, Romeo has explicitly expressed that he is only interested in a casual relationship, with no intentions of being a partner or providing sperm for my single mum journey, which he knows about. He has encouraged me to continue pursuing my dreams and become a single mother. Right there, I have so many clients or friends and they'll come with stuff like, oh, he's saying this, but he's doing that. Like he's giving mixed signals. And I'll say to them,
he's not giving mixed signals.
He's being very, very clear.
Yeah.
And I think she knows this. She's repeated it. But so, like he's being very, very clear. He's telling you, I don't want a relationship with you. He's telling you, go ahead. If someone says to you, it's okay, you go and see other people. Yeah, I like you. And who knows what'll happen, but go and see other people. They mean go and see other people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to commit to you.
And I'm not that into you.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be that they're just not ready. I mean, if he's just a young, hot Colombian, then, he probably just wants to have fun. I used to have the 4-man plan where I would date multiple guys. I wouldn't sleep with multiple guys, but I would be dating. And then when I found one I really liked, then the other ones were pushed off the bench. But that way I didn't hyper focus on one or get all stressed out. And if one wasn't busy or one canceled on me, then I had a backup. And it kept me from getting too attached to anyone. So yeah, there's a really good book called 4-Man Plan. That's great. Or Rory Ray. Check out Rory Ray, the dating coach. Yes. Reconnect your relationship. But she calls it circular dating, where it's the auction effect, where there's several men and you just be like, I'm sorry, there's not a ring on my finger. So I'm not committed. I'm looking for a husband. And until I have one, I'm going to keep my options open. And then men are like, I love you. I want to marry you. Or they'll fuck off, right?
Yes.
Or she can keep fucking him if she wants to. Is she fucking him? Yeah, she is, right?
Yeah. And I think whether she's asking whether she should continue. And I wonder when she says Russian roulette with a dick, I wonder if she's worried about that attachment,
Mm,
because should I slap a warning sign on my heart? And I think that's fair. And I think, if you work with someone and you're having sex with them
yeah.
and you're a girl and you're ready for a baby, probably it's a bad idea because you're probably going to get attached. And so
Don't shit where you
there's one last. Yeah, what did you say? Don't shit where you
eat.
eat.
It always ends
Yeah.
badly. Yeah.
Don't be a hedgehog. So what should I do? I give you full authority to decide my future. Oh, I love it when people do that. Yes.
I don't want to
Yep.
decide their future.
I will decide her future. Yes. You too. I've done that. Have I not given you authority before to make my decisions for me? Or was that someone else?
No,
Might have
you
been
have.
Helen.
You
I
have.
have. Yeah.
Actually, I do like telling people what to do. Why do you think I'm a therapist? But I make them
I'm
think
just
it's
like,
their idea. That's what I do.
well, sometimes for me, in my past, I've been like, Daryl, you cannot be trusted.
Mm,
That's why I applied for Married at First Sight that time. I just said to them in my application, I can't be trusted to choose men.
yeah.
Like somebody has to take over this and do it for me. So yeah, I think you're going to be good at this, Caroline. I've seen you do it. Watch it. You two are guiding stars through the foggy realms of love. You should be a poet and lust. So I will do what you advise. Give it to me straight, like Romeo did in the back of my car, with much with much gratitude. Spermless in Salem. And there's a P.S. P.S. The sanitary towel I mentioned in my last letter. I opened it with my mouth and it stuck to my face lip. When I pulled it away, it took the skin with it. Try explaining that to everyone who asked.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it was because we were confused about which lip she had ripped, right?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a sore lip thinking about that.
Oh, don't snap out of
A sore face lip.
it. What's your advice, Daryl?
So, I think that it's always okay to have a bit of fun, especially if you haven't for a while. But I would be concerned that this will accidentally develop into you having feelings and getting hurt.
Mm,
So if you go into the having fun and you decide to do that, my advice is to take full control. Say no to him more often than you say yes. Don't be available at short notice. Be the person that decides when that fun happens and how. Have fun with that. Have fun. If he's going to just say, I just want you for sex, you'd be like, fine, but I ain't nobody's little
same.
yeah.
Sweetie, did you actually think you had a chance with me for a relationship? No. Then he'll be like, please, I want to marry you.
Take control. Let it build your confidence for sexy Romeo to be
Mm,
chasing after you
yeah.
and enjoy saying no to him, unless from time to time when you want to, or when he's earned it by being nice to you, by asking you in advance, not 12 p.m. on a Friday night drunk with his friends, or if you've got a special itch that you need to scratch yourself.
I would agree. My advice would be to call it and go, you know what? You're right. You're not really what I'm looking for, anyways. You're really lovely, but you're just not on my level, if you can understand that. No, don't be mean. But because I think that if she keeps going, she is going to get more attached. And also, what are the odds that he's going to start hooking up with someone else at work?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to get all triggered. And then if he stops sleeping with her, then she's moping around. She might lose her job because she acts like a crazy person and she loses her power. So I think that my advice would be just go, you know what, you're right. We had fun, but I think we've had our fun and I'm done with you now. Your dick's not that great. So, no, don't say that. Yeah.
But if she does that, right?
Yeah.
If you follow that advice, it has to be firm because if you say no, I'm done, and then go back, that can add sexual tension. It can draw it out. Your word doesn't mean anything, and it can just.
Oh, mean it. And you still can flirt with him, but you'll have your power. And I think, and then do some fucking apps. Okay. I'm putting authority on you. Send me some photos. I will help you write a profile. Get on some apps. I know you don't want to, but that's like saying, I'm sorry, I just don't want to use a computer anymore. Or I don't use a computer for work. Or I won't use ChatGPT or any AI because it's just not organic. Like, I'm sure you don't talk like that, but like it's the world is changing and you have to change with it. And the thing is, you might meet someone organically anyways, but I think it's giving a message to the universe that you are open and that you are available. And the universe also likes a vacuum, right? So if there's nothing there being filled up with some Colombian dick, the universe will give you something else, right? But yeah, I would just keep your options open. I would call it with him because you are going to get it detached and you have a possibility of getting hurt if he starts seeing someone else. And he might do that anyways if you call it with him, but at least you can walk away with your head held up high. I don't know. That's my advice I've just seen too many people like this week. I've had 3 clients that were all hung up over someone at work. And the other person is like seeing someone
Mm.
else at work now, or they've gotten back to with their ex-partner and they're just a fucking mess. They are devastated.
Yeah, no, I think that's good advice. I think that's the best advice. Like, if just end it. If you don't end it, keep your power. And Caroline has decreed that you shall join apps. And we have, I think, maybe start with Bumble. That's the most female friendly, right? Do they have that in the States?
Yeah. I think it
Yeah.
started in the
So,
States. Bumble, Timber, Hinge. I'm not really up on the apps, but I'm sure you've got some friends that are.
and that way you could have even 2 profiles, one for when you want a bit of hanky panky and one for when you are dating. Just a thought.
But then if the guy who they might
Good
see
point.
it, you've got to like shift through a lot of shit to find some good guys. But if you look at my partner, he went on Tinder, matched with me within an hour. Like I had been on Tinder a little bit longer and never dated anyone else ever since, right? Poor fucker. Didn't get a chance.
Well, my sister lived in the same street as her husband and didn't know that he was even living. They'd never bumped into each other, never met. And then they matched on Tinder and, oh, where do you live? Oh, we're in the same street. Boom.
Yeah,
Married.
exactly.
So,
So I think it's just putting the message out there. Make sure you make that list and just try to stay away from the fuck boys. Like I'm sure they're fun, but it's just you're getting distracted and your energy is being pulled away by something else. And that can be good because then you feel good and you can, if you want, keep them on the back burner. But like you said, then I don't know. I think it's just if he ends up calling it and seeing somebody else, you're just going to feel like crap about yourself. And it's just not, even though you haven't done anything wrong and there's nothing wrong with you, it's just psychology. So it feels better.
I think you're right. Looking at this letter as a whole, even though most of it centers around Romeo and the
Mm.
sperms, I think the most important part for us to give advice about is that desire to have someone to share her life with, be it a child or friends to share those special things, and the anxiety that's holding her back.
Mm.
And I think that no matter like, there's no way guaranteed to increase your anxiety more than having an awkward situation with a guy at work because he's started sleeping with your workmate and he's ditched you as a
Ex-
fuck buddy.
exactly.
So don't add to your anxiety, but address it. Anxiety, it requires action. Like, what is it you're not doing in life? What do you need to be doing? Even if that thing is relaxing, you need to go and do some hypnosis, some meditations. I would say go and get a few sessions with a hypnotherapist, maybe a coach, set some goals. What do you want to get out of life? And what is it that you want someone to spend time with you doing? Do you want people to go out to dinner with? Do you want people to do classes with? Maybe go and do that alone. It's amazing to go and say, oh, I wish I had just had some mates to go to a class with. Go to class alone and meet other people who are doing the same thing and make friends there. Or it's interesting, whenever I want to do a class, I always find someone that wants to go with me. Oh, you want to learn Spanish? Let's go together.
Definitely. And classes are really good. Hiking groups, like activities where there's going to be other single people will just be helpful. And the other one, there was a really good book. I think it's called Data, a Love Story. And it was this woman who was in the very similar situation, wanting to settle down, wanting to get married, had went on the apps and had no luck at all. And but she was like some type of like data scientist. And so she studied all the women that did really well and the profiles that did well and that were popular. And she like figured out exactly what people are looking for. And not that you can't be yourself, but how to present yourself in a way that people are interested and will see you. And because there's just such a sea of faces that people just swipe, swipe, swipe. And she like hacked it and found her husband. She has tons in common with. She didn't have to become someone else, but it was really good. Like eBay or when you're selling something online, if you take a shitty picture of it and it's in a dark room with clutter and there's no information about it, then you're not going to sell much. So you want to present yourself in the best possible way. And your profile is how you do that. And we can help you with that. I will help you with that. So
Okay. So if she sends you some photos, you will reply. And what do you want to know about her to create this profile?
I wonder if we could have her on and we could do it. That'd be good. No, no.
Oh, well, we could find out. Would you like to do a recording of creating your profile? And if it's rubbish, we just won't put it on. But it could be amazing. Could be the best thing ever.
I think the apps, you got to change with the times. You've got to put yourself out there and you might meet someone organically anyways. But I think it's sending a very clear message out to the universe that you are available and be very clear about what you want and don't fuck any of them unless they want to have a relationship with you. That is my advice.
And unless you want a relationship, because
Exactly.
as you say, you're quite content at this stage to be a single mother. And that being the case, you have also expressed that you're not seeing your friends enough, and being a single mother will make that harder. So get out there now. Not that I'm going to make it impossible, but it's just logistically, it's harder to get out and about with a baby. You can't go to the parties as much. You can't just nip out at a moment's notice. So why don't you, here's your homework. So you've got your makeup, Bumble profile or Tinder profile. Caroline will help you with that. Homework number 2, pick a friend every week, one friend, contact them and invite them to go and do something. Date your friends. Ask them for a coffee. Ask them to go to a movie. Ask them to go to dinner. Have them round. Go to their house. Even if you don't feel like it, once a week, contact a friend. Have that contact. Have that connection.
I know we don't really have time for my story because we've just gone on and on. But the story, what I did was, I'll just tell you one thing I did, and I'll tell the story in another one because it is a very good story. But what I used to do with friends as like an icebreaker, or I'd have single friends that weren't confident to go up and talk to people, and a lot of guys aren't confident to talk to people, is I would sit with a friend and I'd be like, okay, we're going to pick a person and then we're going to guess everything about them. We're going to say where they're from, what they do for a living, what their name is. We're going to guess like all these details about them. And then we'll each have our own opinions with that. And then we've got to go up to them and ask them.
Oh, that's a cool game.
Yeah. So I did this with a client of mine, actually. We had done a photo shoot. They had done like My Coach and Me. It was some profile that they did. It was quite cool. We got to do a photo shoot and they dressed us up and it was like how I had helped her. But she was single and she really wanted to meet somebody. And so we go after this photo shoot. And so we've got our hair and our makeup done professionally. And we go to a bar to have a drink. And I'm like, let's play this game. So we guess all these things. And then she wouldn't go up to him. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to go up to him. And so I go up to this guy. And I was totally wrong about most things. I thought he was American because he was like a big, beautiful black man. And he was from the UK. And so I said, oh, my friend and I are playing this game and we just have to ask you, or I just want to ask you a few details and see who's right or if we got anything right. And so he tells me, and I think she had gotten a couple of things right, actually. But he was like, oh, and what do you do? And I said, I'm a hypnotherapist. And he was like, you're kidding. And I said, no, I'm a hypnotherapist. And he's like, no fucking way. And I said, yeah. And his phone dings. And he's like, Caroline Cranshaw? And I'm like, and he's like, you'll never believe this. I had a friend who lost all this weight and she went to a hypnotherapist and I put on a few pounds since I've been here. And I thought, right, I'm going to go to the hypnotherapist. I just text my friend and I'm like, nice to meet you. And I fucking shook his hand. He had literally just asked who the hypnotherapist was. And then I walked up to him and said that. Poor guy, he spent the night like staring at me from across the bar, like looking He never came to me. I gave him my card. He did try to hit on me later, and I said no. So it kind of went pear-shaped.
Hold on, but did you just go and like, weren't you meant to be helping her get her ending?
She wasn't interested. She was horrified. But like, what are the odds that
that is insane?
it was
odds.
crazy. And I'm sure I've told this story before on the podcast, but it was so just like, that's when you know there's something going on in the universe and things are happening for a reason. But
you said this on your podcast with your mum the other day about you put it out to the universe that they will contact you in some way.
Yeah.
If it's meant to be. And like you talk about that energy of people coming in front of you. And that's exactly what happened, is like he was meant to contact you, but he just got too freaked out by that message. It was too clear.
Yeah.
And do you know what he's going to do? In 10 years, he's going to pray, God, help me handle this way. I don't know how. He's like, I sent you fucking Caroline Cranshaw. I put her in your fucking face.
I know. It was just too funny. So try that as a game. That's a great icebreaker. And the other thing you can do is do like string on the straws together, like I said, where you string all the straws and you can put it over guys' shoulders and try to sip their drinks. And that's another way you can open up. Maybe not in COVID times.
Excellent ideas. And Caroline, please may we invite somebody to send a photo with no information and we can play the guess what you're like game, because I reckon I will be good at that. And I want to see, we could both guess what you're like by a photo and what you do, and then you write in and let us know if we were correct. But only full body photos, no dick pics.
Well, this is the thing, is the guy had his back to us. So I never saw his face until he was sitting with his back to us, like across the bar. So I never saw his face. I think I would have picked things differently if I saw his face.
I think you can tell a lot about a person by the facial features. We should come back and talk about that as a whole subject.
Or just the energy. They say within, is it 3 seconds or 7 seconds, you make the most accurate assumptions about people. Like whatever judgment you normally make is the most accurate. But then you override it with projection, or other people like, oh no, they're really nice. Or yeah, it's really interesting. It's like our intuition, our subconscious mind really knows. Trust your gut when you first meet people and the feeling that you have. Unless it's someone you're dating and you're like, I don't know. And you might be just dismissing people because you're avoidant. So that's our advice. I never thought that would go as long as it did.
But we hope that you appreciate it. We love you, and we really want you to have your happy life. And there's no shortcuts. If you're suffering anxiety, you got to take some action, okay? So whether that's through some therapy, some hypnotherapy, spending some time with your friends, whatever happens to be, doing hypnosis and meditation, get on to that and ditch your Romeo, or at least take full control. And be careful next time you open your sanitary pad.
Or legs.
Yes. And on that note...
So write us a review. Write us with your problems.
wtfstoriesandadvice@gmail.com.
Link. And if you're drinking too much, check out Wind Down. Okay. And that is...
We love you, Caroline. Bye.
There goes a sight from my soul.